All right, this is welcome everyone to the FTDC AMA series, right? And today we're having on board John Iwuozor. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, or give me if I murdered it. John, mostly needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. Right, started this journey 2021, as I know it, in content writing. And in little to no time, he went from earning $25 per article to now becoming a six-figure earner in about 4 years, I think. Is that correct, John? 4 years?
Yeah, five
All right.
5 years. Yeah.
All right. So textbook accelerated success. Right. And so today we have the pleasure of listening to John give us the behind the scenes on how to do 100K per year as a freelancer, regardless of where you are in the world. Because I should mention, by the way, for those who may not know, that he earned his first 167K while he was in Nigeria. And like I like to joke, he did it working over a desk where you wouldn't want to post on Instagram. It wasn't a very attractive desk, and he did that still. So that's to say, anyone can do this. And today we're going to hear how. Are you ready, people? If you're ready, say something in the chat so I know you're following. I see a George. I see. I see a Sophia. I see Rosemary. I see Festus. Okay,
Nice.
so I think I can now go to my questions, Chima, without fear of retribution.
Yes, yes. Now you're ready.
All right, just a second. Wait for my question to load up. Okay, so first of all, if you could only offer three pieces of advice to everyone watching this right now, right? What would you say to them? A freelance writer watching this who wants to make 100K per year, you only had a minute or say 2 minutes to offer advice to them. Three pieces of advice, what would it be? Go.
Okay. I think I had just one major one in my head, and one of the things I just want to tell people is like it's not your fault. The the market right now is very shitty. Like it's not your fault because I think one thing I'm seeing a lot of people saying is like I'm doing everything. I'm posting on LinkedIn. I'm reaching out. I'm doing a lot of these things, but then I'm not seeing results. Some people are like, I'm doing the extra step. I'm networking, but it's just like it's not your fault because everything is just like it's going bad right from the fact that we have now AI tools. I know AI tools are now like helping to to do all of those execution work that we used to do, and then the fact that we have like AI summarized answers. So it means that like people that used to hire writer, for example media companies, are no longer hiring writers or other freelancers. It's just more of like that. So it's not your fault. All right, so that's one thing that I wanted to preface because everything I'm probably going to be saying on this call, it's going to lie on that foundation. Okay. Now, another thing is the first one is it's not your fault. The second thing is you just have to keep going. Okay. It's more of like, for example, now me getting to the point where I was able to make 100K. The thing is, I somehow knew in my head that I wanted to make this particular amount of money, but I never had like, should I say, a steady, how do I put it now? I never had like a pathway to be like, okay, this is the way I am going to make it. It was just more of like I had the zeal, I had the motivation to be like, okay, I want to do this, or I want to work so hard. All right, I want to pitch myself, like I want to do a lot of things. The 100K came as a byproduct of all the effort I've been putting in so far. All right, because of all the effort I'm putting in. So some of it is you just have to just keep going because you don't really know at what point you're gonna like let's say you're gonna hit gold, because yes, you could just maybe do like some certain things and then you feel like, oh yeah, I've done enough and I want to give up right now. It's just you have to keep going. You have to keep going because yeah, you have to keep going. So that's the second thing. Then if I were to mention a third thing is it's still possible. I think that's what I want to say.
Um,
It's not easy. It's crazy out there, but it's still possible. It's still possible to, to achieve something. Maybe it might not be making 100K because I don't think everybody would like a lot of people like for a lot of people 100K is like, way up here. Some people are just like I just want to make my first 1K. I just want to make my first 10K. So it's not compulsory like you are aiming 100K. Okay, it should just be the 1K. So if it's like making first 1K, making the first 10K, it is still possible. It is hard, but it could still work.
Interesting. That's a really good point. And I think you alluded to what would have been my next question, right? Which is there still an opportunity to do 100K per year now into this market? But let me just reiterate everything you said. First of all, you said it's not your phone. So there's a real trouble in the market. Or that was bad grammar. There's real trouble in the market. Right.
Yeah.
It's harder to make money now than it was as a content writer 3 years ago. And that's something to keep in mind. Am I here, Koyen?
A bit.
Sorry, it's because of my unique setup. Give me a second.
Yeah, you need to mute yourself in the other one because you have two profiles
Yeah.
here, so you need to mute the other one.
Yeah, done. Okay. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry, can
So
you
just
ask the
give me-
question again?
Where was I? I lost myself, Seth. Okay, I was just reiterating. I was reiterating what you said.
Okay.
I'd not asked any other question. So I said, first of all, there's trouble in the market, and everyone needs to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Second of all, keep going. If you keep going, eventually you'll find your breakthrough, is what you said.
Yeah.
And then third of all, you said, what did you say? I think one thing I want to say about the keep going thing, by the way, is you said in your own story that you didn't have like a perfect strategy to get into 100K. You just kept going and eventually you got there. And I think I want to emphasize that for everyone listening. Even if you don't know how just yet, keep going. You just might find. Right. Now, what's the third thing? I don't think I captured that one.
Third thing I said was it's still possible.
Okay, it's still possible, which
And,
was all mine.
and when I mean it's possible, I'm not saying it's possible to make the 100K. I'm just saying a lot of people it's possible to still earn well. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, now let me ask the other question. Do you think it's still possible to do 100K if you're willing to hustle it out,
If you're willing to do what?
to work hard?
Yes, definitely. I mean, that was how I, got to 100K. Um, I'm going to, go ahead of myself and say this. It's like the way I probably made the 100K would not be the same way you made the 100K. Now, I might have shared this on LinkedIn, but I'm going to say it again. When I wanted to make 100K, I wanted to make 100K because I saw Chima made six figures. So I was like, I think I want to achieve this, but there was no like I did not know how to do this. So I knew Chima, she sold a lot of like topic clusters. So I was like, okay, I think if I want to need to make 100K, I'm going to make 100K by selling a lot of topic clusters. But when I made it, I didn't sell a single one. Instead, it was a different approach entirely. It was just more of like partnering with companies, and then they have like plans. They have like I'm just helping them to execute. So I did a lot of execution work. It wasn't what I planned, but it was just I was working hard for it. It's like, yeah, you put yourself out there, you continue to put yourself out there until one day it's like all the everything you've been doing so far, it just suddenly works out. And it's like lines are everything is just aligning for you. Okay, so that was basically it. So there was no steady plan, but then it was just more of like, putting in a lot of efforts continuously, and then something worked out. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, if you could definitely like, earn really well, make good figures, make thousands of dollars if you work really hard.
Okay.
And I'm just saying maybe it's not probably the way you're expecting. Maybe you might be thinking of, okay, I think I want to get it in this way. It might not be that way. It might be something else, but the whole point is if you're putting in a lot of effort, you don't really know where it's coming from, but then it's achievable.
All right. Thank you for that, John. Next question. Now, I know that in 2024, when you made your announcement about having earned the 100K, right?
Yeah.
You said it came with a lot of hard work, that you almost got burnt out. In fact, I'm quoting you now. You said, and I quote, it felt like I was either sleeping or writing or no more, like, or just those three things.
Yeah.
Since then, have you found a way to earn your 100K without burning out, or you're still teetering on the edge?
So I after that year when I was working, I did a lot of work because I was just constantly working. And that's one of the things people probably might not talk about. It's like, to earn a large amount of money means that you have to work really hard. Now, in my case, I wasn't doing a lot of strategy work, I was doing a lot of execution work. So it meant like let's say for every particular article I write, I'm making, let's say, $500 or $600. Now, you might imagine how many articles I have to write just to be able to make that specific figure. So it was a lot of work. Okay. And I thought I was, immune to burnout. I was like, don't worry, I don't really care. But the next year, I think when I moved to the UK, there was a particular month. that it hit me hard, and then I got like it hit the burnout hit me hard. And I remember that particular month for days, I would actually be in my room. It's like I'm not really sure of what to do. Like I think I was crying during that period because of the way the burnout hit me. Okay. So I think ever since then, I took out some time to be like, I've never gone back to that particular model of, working and working and working so hard. Okay. Which is why, people tend to say things like, okay, you have the work-life balance. I think if you're just starting out, I don't think there's probably going to be a work-life balance. I think you just go all out. Then probably later on, when you've achieved some sort of result, you can then decide to now step into a work-life balance. Okay? Because I think that was basically what worked for me. It was just more of like I was this crazy dude that wanted to achieve this specific goal. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna do it, but I just know that I want to do it. Okay. And then gradually, after I did all of that, I relaxed, and then I don't put in so much effort. Like right now, I don't put in so much effort like I do then. Yes, I work, but not as much.
You've reached what physicists call escape velocity.
I, whatever you call it.
All right, but just to segue on that a little bit, right now, do you mind telling us what your average per word rate is? I'm asking because I think that will help people understand what's possible even in today's market.
Okay, I think it depends on maybe the industry you write about. So one of the things I found out when I started writing, because the first article I ever wrote was for was about chess. And I was being paid $25. So now it's the into the industry. So one of the things I realized, like, going through the years, is that a lot of industries that pay you less and some that pay you more. For example, the one that pay you less is like, let's say sports, they pay you really less. They could pay you like $100, $200. Now, when you're writing for something like B2B SaaS, it's more of like everyone knows this, that you're being paid something around, let's say, from $500. I like to keep $500 as more of like a benchmark. It could get higher than that. It could be 500, it could be 600, it could be 700, it could be 800. I know people that maybe for pillar pages, they could be charging like, let's say, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 for like a single pillar page. Okay. So, but then it's more of like the 500, 400 benchmark, and then higher than that. Again, it's mostly when it has to do with like B2B SaaS, or let's say the finance industry, or maybe even health. But when it has to now do with like things like sports, things like just there's some kind of niche. It's more like they pay you really less. But then it's like when you're into this B2B SaaS, there are probably others that I'm not thinking of right now. I'm just saying based on my experience, but it's more around that 500 and above. So it depends on the word count, on maybe the kind of piece that's like being expected. But during the year when I made that particular money, I remember I was working for a client, and I was charging them for every, I think I was charging them like 40 cents per word. So, and I was writing about 3,000 words ish, 3,000, 2,800 words ish. So for every article, I was being paid around 1K or 1.2K. So I was like averaging that amount for that particular client. So I could write like 6 articles in a month, and I could get paid like $6,000, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah,
It
like
does.
you can see the word counts. 3,000 words, a lot. Like it's huge, but then yeah, that's it.
All right. For me, one of the most interesting things about your story is not just how far you've come, is how fast you got here. Right. For
Mhm.
context, I got on Upwork in 2020. Right. In my first year, I made
Yeah,
5K.
yeah,
Right. But then you're a 167K per year freelancer. Let me not tell you
yeah.
how much I earn.
Okay.
But it's not 6 figures. Right. So the question for you is this: what changed exactly? What changed from when you were earning $25 for an article to where you're earning, several $1,000s per article? What
I,
exactly changed?
I think it was just some sort of knowing that I'll probably say some sort of like audacity, fearlessness. It was just a thing of I wanted to do this. It was a thing of the thing is, if you asked me if you could go back to 2021, would you do the same thing you did? Yes, I would do the same thing. Because basically what I was doing was I remember 2020, well, I think it was 2021 or 2022. I was like, you know what, I want to make a 10K month. And I remember there was a couple of months I was sharing like, oh, I made 2.5K this month. I made 2 point something K this month. Now I think about it and I'm like, oh wow, I really did that. But okay, now maybe I've grown, but then do I regret me doing that during that period? No. It was just more of like there was I think I was just hungry for like, trying to achieve something. So I know when I made 3K, I know when I made 6.8K in a month, I was like, I remember the time I wrote an article for $600. That was my first time. I did it for Forbes. And I wrote two articles. It was like $1,200. I made a post about it. I was so excited. I was like, you know what, like I'm making this amount of money. It wasn't just about I'm making big money, so I'm rich. It was just more of like the possibility, especially as someone who was earning like I because before I got into freelancing, I was working as a factory worker. That was just after I finished school. So I was earning like $20 per month if I were to convert it. So for me, it was just more of like the possibility that, I could be I don't need to be in, the US, but yeah, I could be back home, like, in my small room, but then I could be making this particular amount of money. So for me, it was just more of like I was just hungry for a lot of things. And then, being hungry means that you have to put in the work. You always have to show up. You always have to talk about it. And you always have to be loud about it. That's very important. Attention, you have to be loud about it. Because if I was just, doing my thing silently, I won't be getting interviewed today. All right. It's just more of like it was because I was always loud about it. And even though I don't talk about okay, I six figures, that's I probably spoke about making 100K or something. It was maybe sometime last year. I don't really talk about it that much, but everyone has come to associate it with me like, oh, I remember this guy. He did this, he did that. That was because I was always loud about it then. So it's something that has now come to stick to me. Do you get? So, but what changed was just I was kind of hungry for success. Let me put it that way.
You're hungry. Would you say you're filled with success now?
I'm still hungry. I'm still hungry. Like these days, I ask myself, I'm like, I need that 2022 spirit in me.
Maybe what you can do is look at all the people on this call who joined live, empty your account and distribute across all of them. Your hunger will come back. How's
Maybe.
that, guys? Is that good advice, people? Anyway, so I'm on to the next question. You mentioned
Okay.
Forbes there. You wrote for
Oh, yeah.
Forbes.
Yeah.
Why tell us about how you got that Forbes deal or Forbes article?
How did I get Forbes? Is that what you said?
Yeah. You-
It was all on LinkedIn. When I tell people don't joke. I don't joke with LinkedIn for a reason. Everything I've gotten, probably like 90% of what I've gotten was on LinkedIn. So I think for the Forbes thing, I don't even think I remember anymore, but I know that I think they had like a job description on LinkedIn, and then I think I applied to like I had some portfolios, I had some articles that I'd written, and then I applied, and I think I just got it. I think it was just based on my past portfolio, and I've not written for any significant company by then. So I think I could say I was lucky to get it, or maybe I just had something that the editor was looking for then. It was just more of like, I wanted to, I wanted to do good work, and I had like, I was consistent. I think even after I reached out to him and then he was like, send your thing, I think I still had to reach out again, to follow up. So it was just more of like, and then yeah, I got it. In fact, Forbes kind of brought a new light because I think the minimum they were paying for article then was $300, and they were paying up to $600. So before then, the most I've gotten for content was $200. So to me, it was like, oh wow, like I'm actually going to be making this amount of money. So then it's also like, helped some sort of like my mindset, and then, started working for them. And the thing about working for a company like Forbes, even though I was working for like the subsidiary, which is Forbes Advisor, it's that it tends to just add some sort of boost to your portfolio, and then that helped me to get or more opportunities.
Right. When you were answering the question before this, you talked about audacity and how that played a role in your success. Right
Yeah.
now, what would you say to someone who they're biopic, right? So they're from a third world country. When they want to charge high prices, they're
Okay.
petrified. Like they just scared to their pounds. How do you get out of that, fear so you can charge high? How do
Okay.
you develop audacity?
So the thing about charging high is it's sometimes I would just want to say just charge high, but then I realize like it's not as easy as that because thinking back at my journey now, for every question you're saying, you probably realize I'm kind of referencing some things back. I just don't want to just tell you X and Y. I'm trying to tell you, okay, this was what happened to me. So for mine. I remember the first time that someone told me that, okay, see, we would like to pay you $300 per article. And what I was just simply asking was, I think, around $35. That was for a US agency. So when they told me, I felt like, "Guy, that's a scam. No one's going to pay you that much for content." I was very naive. Like, I did not really know anything. But then the money came in. I think I got my first $1,000 within like 3 months of freelancing. So it was more of like a huge shock to me. I was like, oh wow, I can be able to make this much. And then I started to now look for more gigs within that, that rate. But then I then realized really that, oh, that was an exception. Okay, it's not really common. But then I've earned this amount. So I told myself, if I could earn this amount, it means I can earn it again. I can probably earn more than it. Okay. So I think a lot of it is just knowing that, see, you just want to earn big amounts. It's just like you're seeing people earning huge amount, and you're like, you see, I want to earn huge amounts. I tell the story to a lot of people. I said there was a time that I was working for a client, an agency, and I was charging them. No, they were paying me $150 per article. It wasn't consistent. There was a particular month I stopped working for them, and I told them that, see, um, I've forgotten what I told them, but I think I was trying to come to some sort of agreement with them, but I stopped working because I was like, I want higher. I think I told them I want higher. They were like, no, we can't give you higher. So I stopped working with them. For the next couple of months, I wish I could tell you, oh wow, it was really nice. I regretted my decision. I was like, I why would I give up a $150 per article gig? Because I just felt like, you know what, I don't want 150 again. I wanted to increase it to 250. And the next few months, farming hit me really bad, and I was like, why would you do something stupid like that? But then I tried looking for a job for 250. I didn't get it. You know what was funny? It was easier to get 500 and to get 250. Now, remember, all of this thing I'm telling you is within like was the past 2, 3 years. So that's useful context. It might be different right now, but then it was easier to get 500. And once I got the first 500, I got the second 500. I already established a new benchmark, and then it was just easy to just keep on going from there. So again, I quit. Now, of course, I left the 150 gig because I was staying home. So I was like with my parents. So of course, you're not gonna do that when you are between like you're one moment, like you're just like one bill away from being sent on the street. You don't want to do that. But then I did it because I could, because I had some sort of like, some sort of caution. But then I did it, and then because I knew that I wanted to earn higher, there were a lot of people earning higher, so I wanted to earn higher. So I think it all comes down to just telling yourself, okay, you see, I think my skills are good enough, and I just think I want to earn more. Because think about it, if you want to buy a MacBook, they're not going to tell you like, oh, for you, this MacBook is going to be like, it's going to be, it's supposed to be $1,500 or $1,000, but I'm going to give you for $300. No, it's the same price for everyone. You want to be able to afford it. You want to be able to afford vacations. You want to be able to, go anywhere, maybe that's it, go to a country, experience something and, come back. All right. But the only way you could do that is if you charge good money. So that's not just enough to just, let's say buy the next meal the next day, but also good money that, you could use to live something good, to be able to buy like, let's say courses. Courses are expensive. Buy like tools for your work, buy subscription. Have you tried checking for SEMrush or Ahrefs subscription? They're not telling you like this is cheap for you. Do you get? So all of these things, if you think of all of these factors, it just makes you realize that, oh, people are charging this much. It's a global market. People are charging this much. Okay, you know what? I think I want to start charging this particular amount. So you just have to just come up to it. You get a lot of rejections, definitely. It's not nothing good comes easy. You get a lot of rejection. People will probably be like, why would you charge that particular amount? Even I'm never gonna lie, even till today, if I want to they ask you, what do you charge? I still get like fidget, and I'm like, should I tell them this amount? Should I tell them that amount? But you know what? I'm not, the funny thing is, I'm not worrying about whether I should tell them 100 or 200. I already have a benchmark in my head. The benchmark is, no, it cannot go lower than this. Like, I'm just worried about, oh, should I tell them this bigger amount or this big, small amount? But it's not going past a benchmark that I've set already. It's like you might start begging me, like, oh, please, this, no. Unless maybe I feel like, or maybe it's like kind of something interesting I want to do, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't really care about the money, and then I just go to do it. But yeah, it's just you set a benchmark, and then you go for it.
All right. Let me concretize that for the sake of people who are listening. So what I hear, first of all, is you kind of want to de-risk the process, right? Don't turn away clients if you don't have a place to live, or if you are one big check away from being broke,
Yeah.
right? But if you can afford to, then you want to turn away clients. Now, what that would look like, if, say, for instance, you have responsibility, could be you earn enough to have a financial cushion such that, and then instead of turning away your current clients, how about trying to get new clients at a higher rate?
Yes, you can definitely do that. Keep the ones that are paying you lower, but then try and get more. And also look at your industry. Look at what people are saying. If everyone in your industry, if most people, if the top guys in your industry are charging a particular like huge amount and charging a low amount, look at what they are doing. Most times, I think we tend to underestimate our abilities and we tell ourselves, okay, I'm not that good. I'm not this. I'm not that. Thing is that the people at the top, they're not writing anything special. They're not writing gold on paper. All right, it's the same things you're writing or the same things like you're producing. It's just that they've grown to be more confident, or maybe they've grown to package their skills, or maybe some level of confidence in the way they speak, and then they say things like that. Some of the people right now that might come to me, they I'll probably tell them, okay, how about we do this and how about we do that? They might not be just be looking at me, they might be looking at, oh, this guy has worked for this brand and that brand. He's worked for this brand and that brand. It means he definitely has experience. He's out on LinkedIn, a lot of people know him and things like that. So sometimes they're looking beyond you and they're looking about maybe the way you tend to, position yourself. It matters too. You get, but yes, stay with the person you have and then you can then increase it. Yes, there's a lot of factors behind it. But can you increase your amount if you're earning really less? Yes, you can.
All right. Thank you for that. Next question. What's your pricing model? Do you always price per word, or is there how does that work? Or do you do hourly per project?
The funny thing is I've actually done per hour, I've done per project, and I've done per word.
Not
And
surprised.
if you ask me to prefer one, I prefer per project because with per word, it means that you might tend to be a lot of clients, especially the ones that might not have like so much budget, might tend to be very picky because it means you have to be counting every particular word and getting paid by it. Some people don't have a problem with it. It could also work for you, like yeah. So I've done per word, I've done per project. Per project, I tend to like per project because it leaves some sort of like there's some sort of leeway. It's like okay, we want you to work on this particular thing, but then it's between X and Y what counts. All right. So it's just more of like this is what we expect from you. With this, we probably expect like two edits, things like that. So I'm also like a huge fan of the per project. Now, the one that is very controversial that I'm not really a huge fan of is the per hour. Because with the per hour, it means that you're going to be getting punished for working faster. That's not a that's not a good deal because if you find a way to do your work faster, it means that you're not going to be getting paid less, and or if you want to earn a certain like if you want to earn a certain amount, or if you want to now let's say okay, I want to be able to earn this amount, you are not going to have to work slowly just so that you're able to make up that particular amount, which is not exactly good. So if you want to charge per hour, just ensure that whatever you're charging per hour it makes sense with your pricing. So let's say you tend to charge, let's say for a normal blog post of 1,500 words, you tend to charge, let's say $500. Now you could tell them that, oh, I can finish this in 5 hours. And with the 5 hours, it means that your hourly rate should be about $100 every hour. Is it possible to get that? Yes, because in 2024, I was working for a client and I was being paid, I think about $80 per hour. Yeah, $80 per hour. Okay. So yes, you could do that, but then I would not advise going for the hourly model. I'll just advise going for the per project. Yes, you could also do per word, but per project is more of like, it's much more conducive.
Right. And in your experience, are clients typically open to per project? Which is it?
Yes,
Which
yes,
is the
yes,
client's
yes.
feedback?
More of what I've done is per project.
All right, nice.
That is per project because you don't want to be very picky you don't want to be like, okay, this particular word. Because, for example, think about it this way. I write a particular article and I'm like, oh, 3,722 words. Nice. This is the particular amount. And then the client comes back, edit some certain things. And then I now have to now, okay, this is now the new word count. It's not really, or let's say the client now takes it down to 2,500 words. It's not really a very like nice feeling because you're like, oh, I've lost this X amount. So usually it's just per project. Per project means that, okay, I'm going to be writing this blog post. It could be within between 2,500 words to 3,500 words, but I'm going to be getting paid its particular amount.
Right, right. Okay. Next question. Knowing everything you know now, say you were starting your career in 2026. It's two parts here. I see you already laughing. The first thing would be, would you even start a career in content writing, assuming you know everything you know now? Right. That's
Okay.
one. And then the second thing is, assuming you were, what would you do to earn, say, 5K in your first 6 months?
Um, okay. When I knew I was gonna come on this call, I think yesterday I was thinking about questions like this. I think around 11 o'clock, I took a walk. I took like a 30 minutes walk. I just went outside to think about it because I was looking for the best answer to give, like to a question like this, because I know a lot of people are like, if I were to start all over again, how am I going to do it? And I was thinking about it because I was like, I want to come up with the perfect answer to this, but then and not come up with something that people already know already. But then I realized like there's actually no perfect answer to this. Like it's basically the same thing that you've probably heard before. And this is just the way I'm gonna put it. Will I, do content like content writing or let's say content marketing? Yes, I would. But then I think I have some very specific approach to it. Okay. And I, yes, I would do content marketing, I would do content writing. And how am I going to get my first 5K within 6 months? I'm going to use the method that I've always used. Now, what have I always used? Number one is you need to, um, I think I wrote it down somewhere. You need to zig when others zag.
What
I
does that look like?
Yeah, so it's like when everyone is doing something in one way, you want to go the other way. So let me give you some context. I got into writing, and what I was writing about was data science. Okay, so that was where I made my first 1K. Already, data science, it's not something a lot of people delve in. So I got from data science. And then gradually, as I kept on going, I was on Upwork. I didn't realize that there was a demand. It was like I found the demand for cybersecurity writers. Everybody was always talking about cybersecurity writing, and I was like, if everyone is always searching, like every time I was searching for data science, I found this. I was like, what's the issue? And you know what? I knew cybersecurity was hard, but I got into it. In fact, I got my first cybersecurity job with a data science portfolio. Okay, so it was like one of the things that has worked for me so far is I realized that not a lot of people go into technical things. So I told myself, well, like I studied mathematics. I'm kind of like, I have like a technical field thing. I'm going to go into that. Maybe I might not see so much competition there. So it was more of like I found some sort of demand. I found some sort of like, where I think I could shine. And then I went all the way into it. It's the same sense with this, what happened this year or last year. It was more of like, yes, I'm into cybersecurity, HR and everything. But then I think that was after Mike King came to Search African. And then after I spoke, I kind of realized that okay, a lot of like the search was going to be changed. So they're going to be like, with AI coming in, search was going to be changed. I found a way to key in to that quickly. So what did I do? I started researching a lot of things about it. I spoke about it in Brighton SEO. Started like, doing stuff. I wrote about it for Moz. I wrote about it for HyperRank. Okay. So it was more of like so even before people started talking about generative engine optimization, I already like I was like kind of early there because I was already like, writing about it. Okay. So it's just more of like seeing the demand, seeing opportunities. Yes, your eyes have to be sharp. So seeing where opportunities lie and then you're just going for it immediately. So I didn't be like, okay, you know what, I'm not going to do this. So it's more of like something is coming up rapidly, or you see like something has some sort of potential, you're going for it. So that's what I mean, zig when others zag. That's what I did. And that's why, if you've noticed my content on LinkedIn, in some sense, I've moved from, just the freelancer who's just making money to someone who's now like, quite knowledgeable in AI search because that's
Right,
where the market is. That's where everyone is looking at. Again,
right,
you're identifying the demand, you're identifying when it is like where things are like, and then you're going for it. So that's what I'm going to do. It's just more of like I'm going to look for opportunities, look for demand, look for where like where there are a lot of like profitable things, and then I go for it. I'm not trying to do what everyone is doing. Instead, I'm trying to find a way to I'm trying to find a way to milk the situation, to take some advantage of it. I don't know if I'll be able to make the 5K in 6 months. And of course, work hard. Of course, go out on LinkedIn, all the normal things, go out on LinkedIn, you work hard, talk about yourself, do a lot of work. But those are like some key things I wanted to point out.
That's amazing advice. And I think it's related. It's similar to what Chima did as well. I know that Chima was popular off the back of topic clusters. But nobody was really talking about it then, and then she popularized it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the response there, people, is don't go where the crowd is. Have eyes for opportunity.
Yeah, I don't like crowd this because a typical post on LinkedIn is just like, oh, I'm looking for a freelance writer. You're seeing like 300 likes.
Right.
And the funny thing, even in the comments, you're seeing people that this one knows more than me. So you know that you probably do not have a chance. Like, do you get? So if you don't have a chance, so you know that you're not going to get it. So it's going to be futile trying to, still be like, okay, I want to, try and get in. I want to try and get, and I want to try and get in. No, it's just more of like, think about the entire approach again and be like, okay, how can I stand out? Now, it could come down to niching and, all of those other information. But yeah.
Right. And it's good that you went to niche because I have a question from one of the people live here that's related to that. I'll read it verbatim. Which niches should we be targeting to get high-paying work? And what sort of content did you write to make that sort of money? Were they thought leadership articles, case studies, white papers, blog articles, yada yada yada?
I don't need to buy the medium. I don't need to buy blog articles or white papers or research paper. Some people do it. I need to buy industry. The industry is within industry. I'll write anything you give me. Just give me time. I'll figure it out. I'll write anything you give me. So the industry, and I can't tell you the specific industry you can go for. You have to figure it out. It's the same way I saw the demand. No one told me like, oh, see, there's a demand there. How about you go for it? No one told me that there was a demand in cybersecurity. I saw the demand. I was like, you know what? I think I want to go into this. If everybody's looking for this, I want to do it. So one of the ways, and I know some people might even be like, oh, did you go where the money is? Yes. So I niched down where the money is. I found where the money is. You're not going to make 100K or make like six figures if you're writing for like, basic stuff, or you're like, say, I don't know, I'm using sport as an example, but that's the only thing coming to my head. If you're writing for sports, you want to write for people who have the budget to pay you. Okay. That was why I know where I niched down. I niched down in cybersecurity. Online security will always be a thing. There will never be a point where it'll be like, oh, everything we have, the contents we need. People will always write stuff about cybersecurity. Finance, it's always be there. HR, there'll always be, people are always getting employed. There's always, some state of the market. It'll always be there. So you see all of these things. That was where I got into IT security, which is related to cybersecurity, also related. So that's where that's where sorry, I'll talk about sports, but that's where I went into just this major things where you have the money. There are other things. Now there's even law. There's law. I didn't go into law because if you are going into law, it means you want to have like more of some sort of degree, or maybe health. Maybe it's much beneficial if you have like some sort of degree. So if I had a degree, I would have gone into it. I'm not even joking with you. I would have gone into it. It's just more of like you identify where there's money, where there is demand, and your interest. I think it's more of like a Venn diagram. Money, your interest, and where there's demand. And then what is in the middle. That's where you should go. That's where you should go.
Right. Right. One thing to emphasize here is that people shouldn't look for cheap answers. There's a bit of work to be done if you want to make the most money. Right? You can see all of these master calisthenics going into identifying opportunities, blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
very all of that work. Another question. Common advice for newbie writers is guest post, right, on Get a Byline.
Yeah.
What's your advice on how to find blogs to pitch and how to come up with topics to write on? You're coming fresh. You know nothing about the industry. You're not even sure how to go about it.
I think the first thing is like you just find first of all, you could just start with publishing on maybe the ones that are like free to publish. For example, Medium. Medium, my first job that got me $1,000, what I used to get that gig was Medium. So Medium was free. I was just publishing on my own and posting my thing. So it's free. You have like just somewhere online, because a lot of people want to see your work on the internet. It's not enough to have Google Docs. The Google Docs could come in handy if they want to see more of like the behind the scenes, but it's good you have it on the internet. So Medium was good for me. Then later on, I started like I worked with an agency that was, guest posting my articles everywhere. It was some sort of like some linking efforts. So it really helped me because it now looked like, oh, I've written for this and for this and for this and for that. But if you don't have that leverage, all you need to do is, there are companies, if you probably search for, let's say, write for us, something like that. There are a lot of companies, even on LinkedIn. If you ask maybe your fellow content writer or content marketer, oh, how did you get into this? Or was this a guest post? They'll probably let you know. There are a lot of companies that are like, being like, okay, come and write for us. A lot of things like that. Okay. So it's just more of like but you need to have something to say. You need to have something good to say, something good to write. It has to be something better than just what generic AI would give you.
So
So
basically, ask your peers when they're guest posting.
yeah, ask your peers. Start anywhere. Start from the free ones. Then start from the ones that you don't have to pay anything. Then you can then go to others where it's more of like, maybe oh, just write for us, and then you now start writing for other like, let's say in your niche, like maybe let's say people in your niche, you start writing for them, and then you probably have like a couple of bylines. And also, if you're writing for clients, focus on the ones that will probably give you bylines. It's going to be a very sad deal if you're always doing ghostwritten work, and then after like, yes, you're making money from it, but after like 6 months or 1 year, you realize that you don't have anything good to show other people. It's not really a good thing.
Story of my life. Um, um, I was going to say for anyone wondering, when he says write for us, what he's really saying is you can Google write for us plus industry, and that may I mean you have ChatGPT now and Claude, so you could just throw in your industry and say find me publications that take guest posts. Right. Now another question: you choose a niche, you discover that there's money in AI writing. How would you go
Okay.
about learning industry to the point where you can write with confidence on the topic?
So if I choose a niche like AI writing, how would I?
How will you learn enough about the industry to the point where you can write with confidence in a
You
new niche?
you learn
Yeah.
by looking at industry leaders, what industry leaders are talking about it. One of the things is that you always want to be on the top of it. It's very exhausting though, because it's like a new research is out. Oh, I'm reading about it. Oh, a new paper is out. Oh, Google released something. Google said X and Y. You already jump in to go and read about it. This person said this on LinkedIn. This person identified this. It's more of like you're following the industry blogs. You're following like the thought leaders on this, and then you're like learning more. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And I think that's what most people need now at this time and age. It's a lot of work to stand out. You just always have to be out there. I wish it wasn't the case, but why in this why in that now? So
But the way I look at it, it's like a choose your hard kind of situation. Either you do the hard work of
yeah,
learning new industry, or you go and queue with 700 other writers who pitched,
yeah.
under
So
the
you just
LinkedIn
have
comment, write for us.
you just have to just like just do a lot of work. Do a lot of work. Like for example, I'm gonna be next week I'm gonna be in London talking about query fan out. The process to understanding query fan out, it wasn't like, oh, I woke up one morning and I'm like, oh wow, this looks easy. No, it's like I studied it over time. I learned it over time. I did a lot of work, did a lot of research. I'm not being paid for any of these things, but it was just more of like that's probably what you need to do just so that you are like just so that you're relevant. Let me put it that way.
But there's no easy way to make plenty money. Guys, there are no more questions in the chat, so if you have questions, keep them coming so I can get to that. Here's a question that we received prior this meeting. This
Okay.
dude said, John, I'm an SEO specialist looking to build authority in technical SEO through writing. If you were starting today with no personal brand, with technical or marketing websites, what would you pitch to write for, even for free initially? I think we already answered this one, sir.
Like you could pitch man, you could look at some things. For example, I know maybe something like something like Sitebob might probably be accepting guest posts. You could probably pitch there. You look for the ones that are there that are like accepting, and then you go for it. Or you could have
Right.
your own website and then you could talk about it, but you won't get so much visibility on your website. You just want to look at technical, like you just, like I said, you have to be close to the industry. You have to be very present there, which is why it's a good thing to always be on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a professional platform for everyone. You're always present there and you're always, checking everything.
All right. Now, but how do you make that pivot from just being like a content writer to being somebody who's growing a career in content marketing? That's
How
something
did I
that
get to
comes
content writer to because it's more of like content writing is just more of like it's more of like just an execution role. But then you realize that before content writing or before writing a particular article, there's probably the brief. Maybe you can start from okay, I can help you with I can create the brief and then write the article. From creating the brief, it's more of like, you know what, I can actually plan the maybe the cluster or I can plan the strategy then then get to that. So it's more of like you walk your way from the writing all the way to the top. That's it.
nice. Someone's asking, they've worked for several clients. They have no idea how the articles performed, but they're trying to put themselves in a situation where they can charge per value instead of like per word or that kind of situation. How do you
I've
market yourself as
I've
as
never
a
I've
value?
I've never gotten a client where I had to tell them that, oh, hire me because I help this company improve their something from 20% to 50%. That's never happened to me. I know there's a lot of pressure to be like to prove your work or to prove your worth. You just be like, oh, see, I've done this. These days, those numbers, I don't really think people it doesn't really mean a lot to people these days because a lot of people have it in their CV. They have it everywhere. Oh, I increased this by let's say 500 and 5,200%. A lot of people do all of these things. So, but for me, the starting point is just being your positioning, your knowledge. That's all they want to see. They want to see someone who's capable, someone who could do the job, someone who's like, oh, you're quite skilled. Maybe your position, maybe it could be your website, it could be your LinkedIn profile, it could be the things you talk about, it could be what you publish, it could be maybe what you've written on other posts, it could be maybe it could be maybe where you've spoken, like the stages you've spoken, it could be maybe the guest posts you've written, it could be maybe the companies you've written for. So like the companies you've written for, so it could be all of these things, but I've never been one where it's like, oh, because of your specific results, we want to hire you. No, no. And the reason why that happens is because I work for mostly enterprise companies. There's a reason why I like to work with them because startups it's a lot of work. You can't I could not have done what I did when I made 167K with startups. It would have been very exhausting. So the reason why I'm able to scale faster is because I'm working with enterprise companies that are like in a particular, let's say the content marketing team, there are about like 15 people. So I'm like just one of them. There's like a strategy somewhere, there's like a writer somewhere. So it's just easy to just scale. So with that, it's not that easy. It's not that you can't easily see no identify how exactly your content is moving unless maybe you decide to maybe use Ahref or some of these tools or more. So then to put your like your link and then be able to identify maybe if it could be like a very good stuff for your portfolio or for your website. It could be like, oh, I did this and I did that. It's just like some good like some good reviews. I don't know if or some good testimonial, but I've never really had to use it. I've never done it before. I've never done it to show them that okay, I increased this from this to that to get a freelance job. No, all they just want to see is, oh, you've worked for this company before. Oh, you have that knowledge. Oh wow, so you're actually very good in this. Wow, we want you to come and do this for us. That's it.
I agree with that. In my experience as well, it's really counted. I think it matters more for people who want to hold like content marketing in-house roles than it does
Yeah,
for freelancers. For
yeah,
freelancers, you're usually on the execution part, so nobody really cares about how much you increased.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. Um, sorry, I was going to ask you a question, just skipped my mind. Yes, let's do LinkedIn versus code pitching. Right. I know that you used to not like code pitching in the past. Has that
Yeah,
changed? You code pitch
yeah.
now.
I mean, I did not really do much of code pitching in the past. I'm not gonna start now. I've always most of what I get is inbound. It's
Inbound.
inbound. So it's inbound because of, I've built my profile. And, one of the things I tend to believe is like the best job that you get is the jobs that come to you. It's not easy to get them, but those are the best job you get because these guys have been like, oh, I think this guy is good in this. We want to have him, and then they reach out to you and they're like, oh, how can you help up with this? There's like a 90% chance or 95% chance of you getting it because they already had you in mind. Okay. But when you're like code pitching, it's like no one really knows you. You have to, convince them a lot to be like, oh, I can do this particular job, things like that. So, what would I advise people? Should you do code pitching? Yes, if you can. If you can do code pitching, code pitch. There's no rule to this. There's no rule is set in stone. Like I said, what might work for me, the way you might be able to make your first $10,000, it's probably will be different from the way I made mine. Code pitch, send things, apply. The reason why I can't do that is because I don't fare well with rejection. If you tell me, just imagine I write like 20 lines and someone just tell me, don't ever message me again. I can break down. Like you get, so I don't fare well with all of that. I'll just rather just you message me instead if you need the skills. The only thing is just more of like I'm being visible out there. I'm out there talking about my thing, being, doing a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Um, I see a question, but before I ask that one, I was going to ask you. I just lost my line of thought. Because like I guess you get to have your question answered. Let me see.
Okay.
Have you ever lost a client due to performance issues or misalignment?
Yeah. I think most freelancers have experienced this. So there was a time I was working for a particular company, and then I worked for them for like 2 years, and then they messaged me one time and they were like, oh, you know what, your article is no longer good. And I was like, well, I've been working with you for this particular time, like all of a sudden. I messaged them like a couple of times, nobody replied me. I took my L and then I went. Like you get so some of these things will happen. Some of it you strongly believe like okay, maybe they just wanted to just find the way to just get you out. Maybe it's not you, maybe it's not them. But again, it's business, it's the market, it's things like that. People come, people go. It's the same way they lay off people. Okay. So I tend to be very, diligent. I tend to, give everything my best. It's because it's more of like you do good work. I never got to this point by doing substandard work. So you do good work or I do work like to the best of my ability, you're going to get referrals that people are going to come back to you. Okay. So yes, I have. But then yes, you're allowed to get, to hold on you. Like if today somebody tells you you're not doing good work and they let you go, it's going to hit your esteem. It's going to make you feel like, oh, I'm not doing I mean, yeah, maybe take the day off, go and watch a movie. The next day, go back, go and continue, go and look for another one again. Life goes on.
Right. Yeah, I can relate to you when you call someone. Another question, and this is likely going to be our last question before maybe I do a lightning round. This person is asking, George is asking, you said you haven't gotten a job based on numbers, AI visibility, improving ranking, etc. But ever since the presence of AI, companies are looking for writers who can write and bring in those numbers. What will you say about that?
Bring in which numbers?
In numbers like say you improved ranking, you assisted with AI visibility.
Trust me, I don't maybe they could be like, some of them that's like but it's not really like I mean, according to my experience, it's not really a big deal. No, not really. Like because again, you're talking about AI visibility. AI visibility, it's not even dependent on you. You can write the best content, not it will not show up. Sometimes Google is crazy. Like a lot of those things, like it could happen. Yes, all you can do is just try and do what you think would work. Okay, two people could apply the same strategy and then maybe only one works, and then the one that works is that's the one we'll do a tear down on. I'll probably be like, oh, this here's why that one worked. Because it's just a thing of I don't know. I want to use that World War II, that World War II example. But yeah, that's going to be a long thing. But yeah, it's not really a thing. It's not. I can't stay and start telling people like, oh, like, unless maybe I was working as, let's say, a growth strategist. I can now be like, oh, this strategy is supposed to work. I know stuff like that. But if you're working as a content writer, or if you're working like, mostly execution job, it's not really a thing. Unless you're working, let's say, in strategy roles and you're having to prove like, oh, that your something is working, your result is working, or let's say you're working as like an agency and you're having to prove all of these things. Okay. Yeah, I think yeah, maybe then that would matter.
Exactly, and that separation I think people need to make. The role of a content writer is far different from the role of the content strategist who is in-house. Right. So if you're a content writer, my advice would be that you go to companies that already have in-house content strategists and they are serious about investing in content. Because if they are, then they're not expecting you to be responsible for results. They're holding somebody else responsible for that result. Either that's an in-house content strategist or some other agency that they've hired to be responsible for the strategization. For strategizing of the content is what I've had. That's it. We have 1 more minute. Are you ready for a lightning round?
Okay.
First of all, do you have a favorite life motto that you like to repeat to yourself, especially when things get hard?
Do I have a what?
Life motto.
Life motto? The fact that I have to think, maybe I don't really have one.
Life mottos are overrated. Please
Maybe,
make
I don't know.
money,
Maybe
work
it's
hard, play hard.
like we go again.
Exactly. You work hard, you play hard, you fail, you wake up, you try again, you go again. That is the best life motto right there. All right, we are now at time. Damilare, thank you so much for leading today's session. John, thank you so much for answering all the questions. I was just listening to you in the background and I was laughing. I don't know, for some reason, this Zoom is not letting me to type inside the normal chat. It's very annoying because I was trying to say some stuff. But John, this was so interesting. And to everybody who came, I don't think anybody should be trying to make 100K. Not because you can't, but because if you put it in your mind as this ultimate goal, you just keep being disappointed when you don't hit it. What you should be trying to aim for is a lifestyle. You know, aim for a lifestyle. What is the number that is going to make you happy for what you want to do? And then try and work towards that number rather than just trying to hit an arbitrary number like 100K. Good luck to everyone who is a freelancer, and good luck to all the people that are struggling because AI is taking your jobs away. And good luck to all of us, honestly. John, I will see you in London next week for Sip and Search. To everybody else, enjoy the rest of your day. And if you haven't registered yet, please go into our Slack community, register for our LinkedIn profile review session tomorrow with Joe Glover from the Marketing Meetup community. Bye-bye.
All right, bye,
Bye,
Chima.
everyone.
Bye, John. Bye, Damilare.
Bye, everyone.